Hey, it's Mr. Estrada here, and here is our learning target for today. It says, I can, given a line and a point, find the equation of the perpendicular line that passes through the point, graphically and algebraically. So this is a continuation of the video we did yesterday, which was parallel line through a point, and you should definitely watch that video now before you watch this one if you haven't seen it. So let's get to it. Perpendicular line through a point. So here's an example. It says, what is the equation of the line that is perpendicular to negative 2x plus y equals negative 2 and passes through the point 2, 5? So if you saw the last video, this is the same exact question, except now we're doing it for a perpendicular line, not a parallel line. All right, so let's analyze this question a bit. Let us graph the original line. Let's begin by graphing the original line. The original line is y equals 2x minus 2 in y equals form. So if we graph the original line, we begin at the y-intercept, and then go up 2 over 1, go up 2 over 1, and we would get a line that looks like this. So this is the line y equals 2x minus 2. That's our original line. I want us to think about what we're trying to do here. We're looking for a line that's perpendicular to this. So it's got to be perpendicular to the original line, and it has to pass through the point 2, 5. It has to pass through this point. So it has to meet both of those requirements. It has to pass through the point 2, 5, and it has to be perpendicular to this line. So let's think about that for a minute. The slope of the original line, so I'm going to write the slope of the original is equal to 2 over 1. What would then be the slope of the perpendicular line? Well, if you remember, we covered this in a previous video. We said that in perpendicular lines, the slopes are negative reciprocals. So the slope of the perpendicular line should be the negative reciprocal of 2 over 1, which would be negative 1 over 2. So if I want to graph the perpendicular line, I'm going to start at point 2,5, and then I'm going to use the slope to graph the rest of it. So I'm going to go down 1 over 2, down 1 over 2, and I'm going to do the same thing going backwards now, up 1 over 2, up 1 over 2, and so I get these points over here. So when I connect them, I'm going to get a line that looks a little something like this. Let me see if I could, whoops. So there is my line. So now think about it, right? Does it look perpendicular? Yeah, they actually do look like they are perpendicular. But how do we know they're perpendicular for sure? Well, we know they're perpendicular for sure because the slopes are negative reciprocals. So we know that. Does it pass through the point 2,5? Yeah, it does. It passes through the point 2,5 right over here. So we got it. We graphed the line. We did it. We graphed the perpendicular line to the original line, and it passes the point 2,5. All we have to do now is write the equation. So to write the equation, you need a slope and you need the b. So what's the b of the perpendicular line? It's 6. So the equation is y equals mx plus b. So you have to substitute for m and for b, and we get y equals negative 1 over 2 x plus 6. That is our final answer. And as I told you before, there's two ways to approach these types of problems. One of the approach is to do it graphically, and I just did it graphically. But you can also approach these problems algebraically. And so let's go over the algebraic approach. By the way, these are the steps if you want to do it graphically. These are the steps I just followed. So you want to graph the original line, the way we just did it. And then from the given point, for us it was 2, 5. You want to graph the perpendicular line and use the negative reciprocal of the original line slope. Do not use the same slope. So for us, that was -1/2. And then you want to write the equation of the new line. All right, now let's use the algebraic approach for the same exact problem. So here are the steps for the algebraic approach. Step 1 says, figure out what the slope of the perpendicular line should be. It's the negative reciprocal of the original line. Do not use the same slope. So we got to put the original line in y equals form. So that is y equals 2x minus 2. The slope of this line is equal to 2/1. This is the original line. We say slope of the original line. So now we have to figure out what the slope of the perpendicular line should be. We talked about that already. The perpendicular line should have a slope that is the negative reciprocal of the original. So that would be -1/2. Whenever you do this for perpendicular lines, do not use the same slope as the original. You do that for parallel lines. All right, next, step 2, solve for b. Substitute for y, m, and x in y equals mx plus b. So we already said m is equal to -1/2. Our x and y is going to come from the point. So our x and y comes from the point 2, 5. This is x, this is y. So m equals -1/2, x equals 2, y equals 5. So we're going to substitute here to solve for b. So we're going to leave b as an unknown. We're going to leave it as a variable because we're solving for b. So we get 5 equals -1/2 times x, which is 2, plus b. Put this in parentheses. Put your fraction in parentheses. So you get 5 equals -1/2 times 2. Let me show you how to multiply this on the graphing calculator. So what you want to do is you want to type it in just the way you see it with the parentheses. So open parentheses, -1 divided by 2. Fractions are division, close parentheses, open parentheses, 2, close parentheses, hit enter, and you get -1. So this yields -1. Bring down the plus b. Do the additive inverse of -1 on both sides. We get 5 plus 1 on the left side, so that's 6 equals b. So b is equal to 6. So now that we know m for the perpendicular line is -1/2, and we know that b is equal to 6, we can write the equation. So it's y equals mx plus b. Substitute for m, substitute for b. We get y equals -1/2x plus 6. That should look familiar. It's the same thing we got with the graph, because you should get the same result. All right, so that pretty much covers it. Perpendicular lines through a point. Algebraically, so here are the steps, go through them. And we covered graphically in the beginning of the video. So I hope this helps. Take care.